Listen, man, Heather, just stand up for this one right here, man.
100%.
I need if you at home, if you sitting down, if you're not driving, I want everybody to stand up 100%. For this one. This is a standing ovation worthy individual, a saint, if you will, a deliverer, if you will, a conduit, if you will. This man has been a cultural pillar for decades. When I call him a deliverer, because he gave us deliverance when he opened his platform by the way of God, for us to have a voice, for us to be seen. He's the creator, to me, of the most legendary late-night show that ever exists, the Arsenio Hall Show, Emmy Award-winning, coming to America, one of the first hosts to ever give major exposure to hip-hop as a culture. He became a conduit for our community. He's been an inspiration to all of us. If you came through hip-hop culture, we are all his sons, right? And I want to thank him for being here today. He's a magician. He's a comedian. He's a writer. He's a producer. He's an actor.
Host.
He's a radio host, a stand-up comedian,
a singer,
a
son,
drummer,
a bass
father.
player.
He does it all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome him to the show for the first but not the last time.
Right.
One of the most iconic people to ever come out of our community, the legendary Arsenio Hall.
Let's go, baby.
Yo. Oh, my gosh. He's here, Heather.
Wow. He's here.
Oh, man.
Heather. I keep blinking. I can't even believe it.
I can't believe this, man. Arsenio, first of all, congratulations, brother.
Congrats.
You know what? You know what we can add to that list now?
Yeah.
This is my first interview since finding out yesterday that I'm a best-selling author.
He's a best-selling author. Man, with the book Arsenio, a memoir, this is an incredible book. And we're here to talk to you. I'm not even going to say interview you. I'm just
let's
happy.
talk.
Let's talk, man.
Let's talk like we do when you pop in the Improv. That was an honor. The Improv has a marquee now on Melrose.
Yeah.
Right.
And thank God, because it brings niggas together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, he saw my picture on the marquee, and you were with your woman?
I was with a woman.
Oh, a woman.
Blow him up, Arsenio. Blow him up.
Yeah. And
I love this already.
She was my woman that night.
Yeah. Yes.
No, I was with a very close friend of mine, actually.
And y'all came in,
Mm-hmm.
just pulled up.
Yes.
Literally pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that, man. You know, I was glad to see you. And you were able to tell me that now there is a serious presence on the West Coast.
That's right. I did. And we were new.
Yes.
We were new to the West Coast.
So wait, this was last year?
Yeah. This was
You just rolled up because you saw his name on the marquee.
I saw his name on the marquee.
And a picture and video.
In the video.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe. And I honestly felt like that was some kind of divine intervention because I've been wanting to connect with Arsenio for quite some time, you know, even before I even start to grow into the music industry. Just watching you. Your show came on, I want to say, in 1989, right? When it first came on, right? It was on 1989. And I was just getting into the music business, and our dream was to be on the Arsenio Hall show. Yes. And you had a lot of my friends from the Bay Area that was on the show, Shock G, Money B, DJ
Let's not
Fuse.
forget Hammer and 357. And
Hammer,
man, they pulled up.
357.
In mass.
And Tupac. And hip-hop was so misunderstood. People who came from hip-hop was so misunderstood. And you were the first person I felt like you understood us, right? And you were us. You came from us. And it was so ostracized at that time for you to open your doors and put us on the biggest platform there was to offer, right? And put us in a safe space where Tupac could come on the show and just really unleash everything that was on his heart.
Yeah, Tupac called you the night before on a landline
and
say, yo, Arsenio, they trying to make me take an AIDS test, man. I mean, if I'm going to really fuck Janet, I'll take an AIDS test. But am I really going to get the pussy? They trying to make me take an AIDS test to do a movie?
Yo.
And back then, I felt like what Twitter is today. You know, no bluebird back then, just a blackbird. And you can say to your brother, well, come on and talk about it, man.
Yeah, but you never had any we were talking about this earlier when you got into these circles of that sort. you were like a lone ranger, you know, almost like an outlier, working in a space that none of us were in. And in those circumstances, a lot of us won't take those kind of chances. Like putting Tupac on the air was risque at that time, right?
When I first tried to put NWA on, Paramount said no. So I had to develop numbers, ratings, a little power, and then you can start saying, no, I'm not asking now. I want this person on or that person on. And I was my own worst enemy. I was a little hard-headed. I probably could still be on the air if I had done it their way.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been happy. You know, I mean, for instance, what you do, when I hear people freestyling here, first time I heard the word freestyle, it came out of Dre's mouth. I'm talking on a landline. We didn't have no cell phones. And Dre says, I want you to meet Calvin. And he was talking about Snoop Dogg. Yeah. And he said, but you're going to have to talk him into coming on because he ain't crazy about coming on no late night TV show. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. He said, but, you know, maybe we can get him on to freestyle first. And then when the album is ready, me and him can come on and do a track from the album. But you might have to go meet him and talk to him. And I thought that was very unusual because everybody wanted to be on my show. Yeah. And I go to a studio and take my producer with me, and she gets a contact for the first time.
Marla?
Marla.
You took Marla
you can't walk in Snoop's studio and not get a contact.
She got a contact.
And she was fucked up. So, and she said, just you talk to him. I'm just going to sit and listen to the grooves. So we talk, and he says, yeah, man, I got a lot of street cred. I don't want to lose my street cred doing late night television, you know, because nobody knew what I was trying to become. Yeah. And I finally talked him into it. The crazy thing is Snoop Dogg is the most popular dog on earth now. Yeah. You know, Snoop Dogg, he has trumped Lassie, dog.
Snoop who? He trumped who?
Lassie.
Exactly. Right. Lassie was huge.
Yeah. McGruff.
Right?
All them niggas had to bow to Snoop Dogg because he's on everything now and didn't want to be on TV. So he comes and he freestyles. Mm-hmm. And it's the first time I'd ever had somebody freestyle. He had on a blue hockey jersey. We gave him a beat, and he said, hit him up, put him up. He started doing his thing. Yeah. And so the next day at my meeting, Paramount says, we can't do that again. And I'm like, what? That's the shit right there. We got to have more of that. You know, coming off the dome. We didn't say dome then. But, you know, just freestyling, that's wonderful. That's how I probably said. That's wonderful, guys. And they said, we don't know what the person's going to say. How can you continue to let rappers come on, you give them a beat, and they just say anything? Because back then, you have pre-interviews. If you do a song, we want all the lyrics. So pushing the envelope was what I did. Yes. And I'm glad for every moment. Even gospel. You know, I'm the son of a Baptist preacher. I posted something a couple weeks ago of the Winans sitting in the middle of the stage. They were always telling me you can't get the numbers that you want to get doing gospel. But you know what? I never stopped.
You never
stopped.
Kurt
to Shirley Caesar to the Winans. One time I had BBCC and Whitney.
Yes.
You know,
yes, you
I
did.
remember all of that. I don't know if people realize, like, one of the things I got from reading the book, and citizens, this is the funnest book I've read. I say fun. Is fun is a word? It's the most fun book I've read.
Funnest
book I read in a long time. And the thing that everything I thought, or everything I felt or I hoped was true. You really, really wanted to make your show about the music, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and in retrospect, I understand that's expensive.
Yeah.
I wanted to have Saturday Night Live's music performance every night on my show. Yeah. And that stuff financially can be done by the Grammys and SNL, but I was trying to do that every night. Yeah. And you could have a comic on, just talk. You could have a Howie Mandel come on and just talk and probably get better numbers cheaper. But I saw that Oprah wasn't crazy about hip-hop. Yeah. And I saw that Don Cornelius, who was my hero, didn't really love hip-hop. Yeah. And I saw an opportunity. I saw that's something I love. So why not go with what you love, because it might not last forever, but you'll be happy.
You'll be happy.
Wow.
And that's key, right? To be happy.
Yeah, man,
right?
to do a show that you're happy doing. I mean, there were times when they would push me to book certain things. I mean, we had a fight when I did my 1000th show at the Hollywood Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I wanted to do. And I did Madonna and Anthony Kiedis, and I did Naughty by Nature.
Yep.
And I had the entire bowl. Hey, ho. And that made me happy. They made me do, I think, Tears for Fears. Or something like that. Yeah.
Shout.
Yeah. So I tried to balance it for them. But basically, I used to do this show in my basement. And I did it in my basement. I watched Johnny Carson. I wanted to be Johnny Carson. But I noticed that there weren't many black people on Johnny Carson. Sometimes you had to wait a month. And then in school, somebody say, hey, man, Al Green going to be on Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I got to tune in. I got to see Ray Charles going to be on Johnny Carson. You tune in to see them. I wanted to have a show where it wasn't a big deal or a special occasion to have black people there. Michael Bivins, I tell this story to people. Michael Bivins called me and said, I got these 4 guys, and their album's not ready yet, but I want to bring them on. And I said, well, when is the album ready? And he told me, and I said, I got the Temptations on this week. Why don't we bring your guys, Boys to Men, and put them with the Temptations?
That's crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
And Paramount is like, no, when we said less, we didn't mean this.
Yeah.
You got 14 niggas doing choreography.
Yeah. But you were breaking artists that way, right? Yeah. You were so groundbreaking at that time, man. And it just seemed like you made us feel like there were no limits anymore. There were no doors or walls. There were no barriers that could keep us from growing and expanding. Like, it's true, man. I grew up watching, Johnny Carson, who was Dinah Shore used to have, all the legends. Dick Cavett, but none of them had the relatability that you had. But what I find,
and
really,
you and I liked the same things.
We liked the same things, right?
When we watched Ed Sullivan as kids, we'd see Ed Sullivan have Diana Ross stand up. So when I got a show, I'm like, who's my Diana Ross? I remember having Fat Joe stand up.
Yeah.
And thinking that's how Ed Sullivan would do Diana Ross. Sitting over there in B section, that's Fat Joe.
Right.
Stand up, Fat Joe, wave, And so I was taking my childhood and replacing the names.
Yeah. That was so smart. Arsenio Hall is here, man. Round of applause. You brought up your father, and when you read the book, your parents weren't too keen with you coming to Hollywood, right?
No.
Yeah.
Dad was a Baptist preacher. He thought Hollywood was just a large den of iniquity. And and he did not want me here. We used to watch television, and he would say, look at that. Look at Hollywood. And my father was conservative. My mother was a Democrat. My father was a Republican. So I was in a bizarre learning environment, but I learned everything. And I think if he were alive, he would have loved what I did, because the one thing I never strayed from is I kept gospel in the mix. Even though they said it wouldn't get big commercial numbers, I made sure that I kept gospel in the mix.
Man, Arsenio Hall is here. Heather, you spoke about a through line in the book about manifestation.
Manifestation, believing, dreamer, wanting to make your father proud. That you said, and still to this day, I want to make my dad proud. When you wrote the book, I didn't realize your father was a preacher. I didn't know that. I learned that through the book. And I remember, because I did it as a kid as well, I took in so much television. I just made notes in my head. I remember my parents getting Jet magazine and Ebony magazine, and I would cut out collages and make collages of the houses that I wanted to live in and the people who I wanted to meet. And you spoke about this blue suit that Johnny Carson had wore, that you wanted a blue suit. So I went back last night specifically, and I was like, I wonder if he wore a blue suit and coming to America when you were a preacher.
Yeah, I think that was a green suit, maybe.
Oh, I
coming to America.
When it popped up for me, it looked blue.
Yeah.
And I was like, Arsenio never forgot his breadcrumbs.
Oh, no.
Like from Diana Shore and her logo, from all the little, you never forgot. And I'm wondering, because we speak about manifestation here all the time, I'm wondering particularly with that fire that took place at your grandmother's house.
Oh, yeah.
And you seen it all disappear, so to speak, except for your grandmother's handle of a gun. Was that to you, did it speak so loud to you, like, this was my absolute time to go? Like, this is my time to just go and actually be what God has set me out to be. Like, did you feel that?
Yeah, I absolutely felt it. I'll set it up for you. I start as a magician. You know, I have doves. I got big boxes at the house, and I got guillotines, and I'm also a drummer. I got a band. And me and this kid, Johnny Brett, who's a trumpet player, very talented musician. We had a band, and I was a drummer. My house catches on fire, and I lose the drums and all the magic equipment. But I had gone to see Al Green perform.
Al Green.
Yeah. And he had a comic open for him. And I had that in the back of my head. And every day in college, in my junior year, I used to go play ball at 3 o'clock when classes were finished. And when you finish playing ball, you're taking off your socks to put on your slides. And I would sit and talk to my guy, because we'd come to the gym every day and ball, because that's how, that was our release.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that guy, we used to dream. And we used to talk about this stand-up I saw, and maybe being a stand-up. So when the house burns down, this all comes together. By the way, my friend was Steve Harvey.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we're sitting there every day.
Y'all used to play ball together?
Yeah.
Who was nicest?
Oh.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm just curious. I mean, you know.
I was nice.
Okay.
Man, you know.
Al.
Yeah. When you talking shit, Steve always won.
Okay.
You know. But when it was just about making somebody put their weight on their left and taking them right.
Yeah. He was crossing
them over.
Okay.
You know, the geometry in my game was incredible.
Oh, look at this.
Talk your shit, Arsenio.
Okay, so y'all used to play every day?
Yeah, we used to play every day. And then one time we went to see, I think Dick Gregory came to campus, and Franklin Ajayi, who had been in a movie called Car Wash.
Yeah.
He came, and he did stand-up. And me and Steve were focused. That's what we wanted to do. And Steve had some problems with academic probation, and he didn't get to come back in the senior year. Back then, you didn't have a cell phone. If you didn't get Steve's mama number, you couldn't find Steve. So everybody's like, Steve didn't come back. Steve didn't come back. I'm like, oh, me and Steve, we would dream together. Who I'm going to dream with? But years later, I turn on Showtime at the Apollo.
Wow.
And I say, that's Steve from college.
Oh, my God.
We dreamed of everything we're living right now. It's important to dream.
It's important to dream. Man, Arsenio Hall is here.
Wow.
Man, I didn't realize that much.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
You've had so many. When you read through this book, shout out to Tanya. Tanya. Shout out to Tanya. Tanya, for those who don't know, is somebody that Arsenio met along his journey. That was the catalyst to him meeting Irving Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Tanya was able to get you tickets to the Lakers game, right?
Yeah, me and Tanya loved basketball. And I had bought tickets to watch Magic and Jordan. The first time Jordan came to town, the Great Western Forum play against Magic Johnson, and I bought tickets out in the parking lot. I'm a naive young man. I just want to get in. I buy tickets out in the parking lot, one ticket, and my seat is up above where the band was. As a matter of fact, to this day, if I hear "Carry on my wayward son," ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, drove me crazy. But I was so high in the Great Western Forum that the back of my head touched cement. That's the top.
That's how high you were.
Yeah, when you can lean back. When you're afraid of your seats, when you're looking down, when you fear.
You got a high fear of heights.
Yeah, it's like, wow. And you're looking down and you think you see Worthy because he has on goggles, but you really can't tell who's who. Except Kurt Rambis, who was white.
Yeah, right.
And that's how high I was. So I meet Tanya and I joke about that. I had been talking about it at the Comedy Store, getting bad tickets. And she says, I know Irvin. And I'm like, nobody called him Irvin.
Yeah.
She says, yeah, Irv will get us tickets. And I'm like, Irv, Magic. I said, you don't know no Magic Johnson. She calls him on the phone.
Damn.
Wow.
And she even says, I'll call him at 4 because on a game day, he takes a nap.
Yeah.
And we don't want to wake him up. And she calls him and tells him who she's with. And he says, oh, I've seen him do stand-up at the Comedy Store. Yeah, y'all come through. I'll leave tickets at will call. And that's how I met Magic, through my friend Tanya.
Yeah, but how did that make you feel that Magic knew who you were at that time?
Well, I didn't even know that he had ever been to the Comedy Store. But Magic loves comedy. And sometimes he would come in, and the doorman said he would sneak in and just sit in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, he loves stand-up. But it made me feel like the television was working, the few things I had done, you know, being on Solid Gold, Norm Crosby's Comedy Shop, getting a shot on The Tonight Show with Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
You know, Don Kirshner's rock concert with Cameo.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
I just want to be what you want
Me to be.
Oh,
Your son
man.
is like very impressed that I know all this stuff. He's like, yo, Sway really be doing this shit. I was there too, son.
Yeah.
But I find that's the other thing, because a lot of times when you're still rising in your journey and you see these people like Joan Rivers, you met Joan Rivers, somebody took you over there to meet her, and you start trying to crack jokes. You start making her laugh. And sometimes we don't have the heart to do that. We don't have the gall to do that. And you have to have 100% faith and belief in yourself to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you went to crack jokes to one of the funniest people, one of the sharpest people who was out at that time.
Yeah, edgy, sharp, funny lady. But, you know, I had nothing, Sway.
Yeah.
So you got to take a shot.
Okay.
You know, I'm walking through the supermarket in those days, and I'm eating while I'm in Ralph's, you know, pretending like I'm shopping, putting food in my cart and eating cookies while I'm there, taking sausage samples from the lady who's selling Jimmy Dean's and the frozen foods, and then running out of the store and leaving the cart. That's how I ate sometimes, you know.
Really, bro?
Yeah, man. You know, you just walk around the store, pretend like you're shopping, and you're eating things out of that little child seat, you know.
And
but
you had to take your shot, but taking that shot led you to Joan calling you to fill in for somebody who wasn't there, right?
Yeah, I got to go and do stand-up, and Johnny hadn't been feeling me, you know. The Johnny Carson talent coordinator said that I wasn't a Carson comic.
What did that mean to you, though?
Well, it meant I needed to understand crossover commercial comedy a little better.
Okay.
Because I had been on the road with Aretha Franklin and Johnny Guitar Watson, and I knew how to make my audience laugh. But I had to learn to do some Dow Jones punchlines.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to cross over a little bit.
Yeah, and so and for that reason, you wasn't a Johnny Carson type comedian, and so instead of being a comedian, you decided to do what Johnny Carson does.
Yeah, and I had planned that all my life.
All his life.
All your life.
That's what's so crazy.
Yeah, I used to do a talk show in the basement. I used to have my friends come over. My mother had these folding chairs from card parties and rent parties we would do, and I would use those chairs before the company came to pick them up and take them back, the rental company, and I would put them out. And I would put a card table out and put my chair next to it, and I would interview friends in the neighborhood, and we'd put a Temptations' Greatest Hits album on, and somebody would lip sync. That would be my musical guest. So I was doing too much music even in my basement show.
Too much music.
Crazy.
You fought for the music till the end, and we appreciate that, because what you did really ignited and sparked generations of artists like ourselves who to this day still have jobs, because to me you were the case in point. You was the proof of concept, right? A lot of us thought that the show ended because of and I know you talk about this, but we haven't talked about it. A lot of people thought the show ended because of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan interview you did. But when I look in the book, you actually reveal a letter of resignation.
Yeah.
So it was you who made the decision to wrap up the show. It was you who wrote Paramount. and explain, hey, it's time for me to go. The Gab business, I think, has run its course.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Well, there are a lot of things going on. My money is tied to my ratings.
Okay.
When Letterman comes in to CBS, I lose my CBS affiliates. And I don't want to talk too much TV, but I was a first-run syndicated show. I may be WPIX in New York. I could be 13 here, but I may have a CBS affiliate in some big cities. When Letterman came into the game, I lost all my big affiliates, my CBS affiliates, and I was just small stations, which changed how much money I make, and it changed what I could do, the budget I had. You know, I joke about Prince wanting a purple piano.
Yeah.
And, you know, when your show is on fire, you say, Prince wanted a purple piano.
Yeah, right.
You know, and when Letterman comes to the game and takes all your CBS affiliates, you say more like, hey, could I tell you something Prince said? You know, you don't have as much power to do those things. And it's, like I said, it's cheaper to do talk guests than to do music guests. Like, I realize what they were trying to get me to do then. If you think about it, look what's happened to the business. Those big glitzy shows are in trouble.
Yeah.
Those shows that have those budgets and bands, they're in trouble. Now it's about sitting and talking with Sway or sitting and talking with Joe Rogan. Those things are financially feasible to do. What I was doing, you can't do that every night in syndication without a big network. And I always knew I wasn't the ABC, CBS, NBC guy. You know, they used to tell me, well, if you do a more commercial crossover show, you can be in a position to inherit Johnny's viewers when Johnny leaves. And we know Johnny's going to retire at some point. And I didn't want that because I knew what that meant. I knew that meant often doing a show that I wasn't enjoying. So my thing was, I'll do 6 years my way instead of 26 years their way.
I love it, man.
And try to stack bags
at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we thought you were filthy rich. Yo, we was like, Arsenio's the richest man in America right now, man. We're going to come back with Arsenio Hall and talk more about his book and this amazing career.
Yes.
You know, you talk about Paula Abdul in this book as well. And I want to talk about fame and celebrity. You know, we've all, it's a drug now. You know, we've all experienced it on certain levels. And I want to talk to you about, get your introspective on fame and celebrity too. All right?
You got it, man.
Arsenio is here, 888-742-3345. Oh, man. I'm building with Arsenio right now.
I love it.
I think something big gonna come out of this, have to be.
Let's go.
You know, Arsenio has his new book. He's already a bestseller.
Ow.
Buy 2 of them. Arsenio tells you, buy 2, 1 for yourself, 1 for your friend.
Yeah, give it to somebody who don't know who the hell I am.
Exactly,
you know
right?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about fame because you experienced it on a level that, and at a time when there wasn't no social media, and being here in L.A. when the Lakers were the Lakers, you know what I mean? And it was just, you know, Michael was Michael. You know, Eddie was Eddie.
Yes.
You know.
Those one-name brothers.
One-name brothers, right? And Arsenio, was right there.
Well,
no, I know, you know, kind of Hall, but I know.
What could I say?
That was right. You was right there. You was right there.
Yo, dude, like you mentioned Michael. Meeting Quincy Jones for the first time. He came to see me do stand-up, calls me the next day on a landline. See, that was a thing back then. You all don't know having texting and cell phones. You know, Prince used to do concerts, surprise concerts downtown, and he would put them together, and you can't imagine how he did it without a cell phone. I mean, Queen Latifah would call me, and somebody would call somebody else, and before you know it, down at Glam Slam, we'd all be in there.
Wow.
3 a.m, Prince trying new material. The Michael Jackson moment that I talk about in the book. Quincy Jones comes to see me do stand-up, invites me to the studio the next day, and he wants to play new stuff for me. And he's playing at the board, and he says, listen to this. And he just is playing stuff like that, you know. And I'm like, what's that? He says, that's Michael, man. Listen to this. And then he brings it up. And yeah, man. And so I have no idea that I'm listening to the most incredible album ever.
The greatest of all time.
Oh, dude, he says, listen to this. He says, you hear that? The tinging? That's Sheila E. She's playing pop bottles. She got different amounts of water in the bottles, and they make different notes. Ding, ding, ding. Sheila E. Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Because I had bought an Escovedo, one of the Escovedo family members. I had bought his album, a jazz album, so I knew that name, that Sheila E. name. And then he says, you're from Ohio, right? And I'm like, yeah. He says, let me play you something. And they put big reels on back then, big giant reels. And he would say, this guy's from your way. And he played Find 100 Ways and Just Once. And he said, his name is James Ingram. And I'm like, wow, we never heard of him. And he says, yeah, this is scratch track, man. They sent it to me so I could hear how the song sounded. But I like this guy. I may just let this guy do it. And that's how it went down. But that day was one of those days where people talk about pinching themselves. It's like, I'm listening to the off-the-wall material before anyone's ever heard it. And Just Once by this young man, James Ingram. I've had an incredible life, man.
You've had an incredible life, bro. And when you bring up Michael Jackson, I think one of the biggest moment that ever happened on late night TV, in my opinion, happened on your show. I want to play this clip real quick.
Okay.
As if you didn't know, we have something that we'd like to present to Eddie, and I'll let Michael tell you the rest.
Presented to the king of comedy, Eddie Murphy, the greatest comedian of all time, the king.
This is an award that MTV has actually put together, and viewers.
Viewers, thank you. The viewers voted. That's yours.
We have something we got to give you. This MTV sent this over. I don't know if you know about this, but
the viewers award for Michael Jackson for the greatest video in the history of all videos, Thriller. Thank you. Yeah, I was shocked that Michael.
You know, like I'm in this business, but that's one person when he's around. I'm still like,
I don't know what to say now. It's like, you want to go home now. It's like the show is over. It's like, Michael left. I'll see you later.
Don't y'all feel like that? Don't you feel like right now you should be going towards the exit?
You know what's interesting? It was like when he first came out, y'all didn't quite, but y'all was like, that's a lookalike. That's it.
Yo,
and then when you got right
man.
back there, hey, that ain't no lookalike.
Come on, man. I just got, man, just that right there is a round of applause, bro.
Sure.
Mike,
man, Eddie Murphy is the legend, the GOAT, one of my favorite of all times. Michael, too, and you're right there in between them. You know, you're the conduit. You're the one that made that happen. If it wasn't for you, that moment couldn't have happened.
Right.
And
I loved making things happen. I remember guys like Clarence Avant would help me make magic things happen. Charlie from Philly. Charlie Mack would bring Will Smith by. And Will Smith would go into a room and have a conversation with Quincy Jones because they had an idea about this show where a kid moves to this town, to Bel Air.
Yeah.
And I think Benny Medina was in the mix. And,
Yep.
and they all came up with that show on Stage 29. I would put people together. I loved that networking because sometimes, we don't fuck with each other the way we should.
Talk about that, bro.
I ain't doing nothing with them niggas.
Yeah. Talk about that, bro.
Yeah, and so I loved putting people together and making things happen. Even matchmaking.
Yeah.
Trying
Who'd you put together? What couple you put
hey,
together?
one time, this didn't work out really well. I introduced Charles Barkley to Madonna. Madonna's
Get out.
Madonna called me and she said, he's cute, because I had him on an interview, and she said, he's cute. And I said, well, the Suns are playing the Lakers. You want to go to the game? And she said, yeah. So me and her and Rosie O'Donnell went to see the Lakers and the Suns. And after the game, I took her back to meet this guy that she said was cute, and she met Charles Barkley. Now, I don't know what happened after that, but analytically, when I looked it up, Charles's numbers in the playoffs were better than they had been in the regular
You
season.
know
And that's because of the Arsenio Hall, man. Let me ask you.
That's them pointed breast.
Let me ask you this question.
You know what?
You're hilarious.
Those cups.
When you hang around so many iconic people, you gotta observe. Like you gotta, like Heather says, she studied people. You studied people before you became who you are. What is the common denominator that you found between a Michael Jackson, a Eddie Murphy, a Madonna, a Irvin Magic Johnson? What did they all have in common in terms of how they became who they are?
Me and my son, who's in the room, we joke about this a lot. I think hunger is really important. One of the boxers used to say it's hard to run in the morning after sleeping on silk sheets.
Yeah.
All these guys we talk about, do you know what size house the Jacksons were brought up in Indiana? This room is the size of their entire home. Magic Johnson's dad was a hard worker, and he inherited that hard work ethic. And it's really hard to be as successful as those people without that hunger. I'll tell you something else that's important about those people, and I've talked to Eddie Murphy about this. We had people like Ali that we're watching as we're growing up. Think of the influence of a Muhammad Ali on young black men. This guy who, for the first time, after a boxing match, would take out his comb and say, "I'm so pretty."
Yeah.
The self-esteem that we got out of that generation of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, all those people, that's who we were watching Ali. And I remember one time I'm playing ball. I'm broke, playing ball at Poinsettia Park. And I see a gang of people outside in front of the park. And me and Mark Jackson had just balled.
Mark, you was balling on that level, though?
Yeah. Hey, and when you got Mark Jackson on your team, y'all gonna win all day.
Yeah.
You know, y'all keep calling winners because we holding the court. But yeah, Ali is in the middle of a crowd making a Kleenex disappear, doing magic for kids. And that was full circle because he was doing a trick that I used to do as a kid. And sometimes things would happen to me and I would be like, God wants me here. Because I would see things come full circle in my own life, you know.
Wow.
And I was going to find the positive, even if it wasn't there. I have a way of just trying to think positive and dream.
Wow. Heather?
Wow. So that's so crazy because you mentioned about being places. To me, reading this book, I knew you were talented, Arsenio, because we watched you, as Sway said. And people don't know what goes behind being a great host. They have no idea. You can be a host, but a great host is different. That's different. And you did exactly that.
Thank you, Heather. But
then all of these layers behind you. You could have been a preacher. You were actually being pushed to go in that direction.
The preacher in Coming to America?
Yo.
Yeah.
That's all my dad's friends.
Your father's
My
friends.
dad used to take me to the Baptist Ministers Convention. I'd meet preachers from all over the country. And when it was time to write the dialogue and create that character, I remember a preacher named Reverend Humphrey in Chicago, and he preached a sermon about joy. It stayed in my mind as a kid. And when it was time to do Coming to America, I got joy. And that sermon came out in that movie. So, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You know, and all those things from dads, you know.
So that's what I want to ask you about. All of these things, the band, the radio, the basketball, you could have really chosen anything. Hank Morehouse, though.
Yeah.
You
did read the book.
I can't put it down.
Wow.
I can't put it down. But Hank Morehouse, to me, put the seed in you that you would not allow to be snatched out of your spirit. How do you help other people when they may be in that place of, I don't know which way to go? Because you may be a multi-talented person. But to me, you could not give up that comedy seed. You couldn't give it up. What would you say to people like yourself that may need someone to plant that seed in you like Mr. Hank Morehouse did?
Yeah. That was a magician who told me, he said, I loved the magic, but I loved it more when you talked. He said, you're only 12 and you were making adults laugh. And he said, I think you're going to be a stand-up comic one day. I didn't know those words, stand-up comic. And I told Steve years later, when we talked about it, I said, you know, when I was doing magic, this dude used to tell me I was funny when I talked during my magic. And I said, he told me that I was going to be a stand-up comic one day. And me and Steve would talk about that kind of stuff. But getting more specific to your question, first of all, do what you love. That old thing about doing what you love and you'll never have to work, it's so true. I try to do things I love and do everything because you never know. When Quincy Jones again, Quincy called me and he says, I hear you got the talk show. And I said, yeah. He said, write your theme song, man. And I said, what? He says, you was in the marching band. You know that stuff. You know ASDF.
Wow.
You know, write a melody, put a bass line, the drums in there. And here's how he helped me dream. And I hope we do this for young people that we come in contact with. The next day, we used to have messengers in Hollywood. The next day, a little Casio keyboard came to my condo, was messengered to me. I opened it up, and there was a little buck card, a little note, and Quincy said, write your theme song. And he knew I would make money every time it was played. Wow. So he put me up on game. And I sat there and didn't know how to write a song, but I had in my head, it's Hall or Nothing.
It's Hall or Nothing.
Oh,
and that's where that came from?
Yeah, and because it's like there was an ad, and I was thinking, this is my shot. And so I started writing it's Hall or Nothing, picking notes. It's Hall or Nothing. No one else will do. It's Hall or Nothing, your mind before I'm through. And I remember Eddie teasing me and saying, yeah, that's a good song, man. That's a real good song. And finally I got it together and put the drums on it, put a nice bass line on it. And every time it plays, I get paid.
Man, Arsenio Hall, man. I want a couple more, man. I wanted to touch on fame a little bit because I feel like in this generation, we're seeing celebrity and fame like we never seen before. It was only so many ways you could become famous in a celebrity, you know, just a couple of decades ago. You either had to be on radio, music videos, or TV. Like it was, or you committed a crime, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But now you could become famous on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and you know, I dare say, you know, this is something you planned on doing. You wanted to be in the business from a child, and perhaps you were maybe properly prepared for it, or at least as prepared as you can be. I've dealt with it. Heather's dealt with it. She's the first African-American reality TV star when she did the first season of Real World. If it wasn't for her, there would not be no reality TV. She's the one that brought the ruckus, right? I worked on MTV and worked in syndicated radio for years. It's difficult to really cope with fame. I don't think it's natural for a person to have millions and millions of people know you, right?
And the money thing, nobody teaches us as young people what to do with our money, especially in the hood.
Right?
There's no generational wealth in someone teaching you how to invest and what to do. When that first hits, when you first get paper, that's the real hard part because you don't know. I remember having $1 million check, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what should I do?
Yeah.
You know, how do I, what's next, you know? I held it for a long time.
But how did you learn? Who taught you?
You know, all my heroes, man. I wasn't shy about asking Don Cornelius, could I take him to lunch?
Okay.
You know, I wasn't shy asking questions. I remember Alan Thicke, and it wasn't just black heroes. You know, when I would meet Alan Thicke, I would talk to him. I remember he had a son who liked R&B, a little boy. And it dawned on me, when years later that becomes Robin Thicke and we hear Lost Without You and the soulful element of that song, you realize we know who we are at a very early age. If nobody kills that dream, we kind of know what we love and who we are. That was a little white boy who liked R&B. Look who he is now. Robin Thicke is a white R&B singer. So dream and let your kids dream.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give to young folks who are starting to come into fame, though? Like, you dealt with it on a high level. I don't know if it ever drove you off your path, what kind of challenges you had dealing with fame, but what would you suggest to people who are dealing with fame?
I really do believe that we don't talk enough to others and elders, because everything you're going through, someone has experienced it.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to say, hey, can I take you to lunch? Can we have lunch? But it's really important. Like, I used to watch managers on the golf course. I didn't know nothing about golf, but I'm like, they walk more than they play, and they talk and they share.
Yeah.
And we have to do that.
Okay.
You know, we have to talk to each other and share and sit down and learn all the different things, because there's a lot of game out here.
Yeah.
And there are people who will. Don Cornelius put me up. I talk in the book a lot.
Yeah.
You know, Dana Walden, who is the most powerful woman in Hollywood. She runs Disney.
Mm-hmm.
She was part of my crew back in the day because I met her, and she was one of the smartest people I'd ever met. She was Dana Friedman then. And I remember Don Cornelius saying, the networks are going to have their dogs. Make sure you have yours. And he put me up on game. He also said, and when you hire people that you trust, always make sure you're the stupidest person in the room. Mm-hmm. Hire smarter people. And that's why people like Dana Walden were brought into my life. And he also explained to me that when you bring these people, you got to listen sometimes to different people, different ideas. So keep a lot of people around you that are smarter than you.
Arsenio Hall, man. You mentioned the word full circle, and thank you for that. You mentioned full circle, and there's an artist I know that for decades wanted to meet you and actually had a chance to perform on your show and wasn't able to meet you. And I'm going to play this performance back for you real quick and see if you remember this performance. Torch, go ahead and hit it.
Yeah.
Mandela's not free. He can't even vote in his own country. Mandela's not free. Mandela's not free. Now listen to the lyrics and the pure reality.
This person right here.
Razor spit.
All right, real up. What you think of that artist? You think of that lady that was rapping right there?
Now, I like what I like.
Yeah.
And I was feeling that for a minute. There was a thing that was reminiscent of Yo-Yo in there that I kind of liked.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Heather B.
Wow.
That was Heather B.
When I heard the reference to razors, I should have known.
And Heather told us, Heather, tell them about your experience.
So, what I was telling everybody this week, we were all excited that you were coming. And I was ushered into the music industry by KRS-One. He was my music mentor. And so I remember in 1990, I was a sophomore in college. He calls. He's like, we're going to the Arsenio Hall show. My first time in California, June 1990. The Edutainment album was coming out the following month, July. And we were all backstage. I had my little cardboard camera. You know the cameras that used to come in the cardboard box?
And they were disposable.
Disposable cameras, yes.
And this is how you wind them.
I had my camera backstage. I was ready. And we were all backstage, and I was like, here he come, talking about you.
Oh, wow.
And you said, peace, thank y'all for coming. And I was like, he's so shy. What happened? He didn't say nothing. We can't get a picture right now. We can't do
he
nothing.
He didn't bark?
He didn't do nothing. I was, everything just like drained out. I didn't know what happened. And the stage came up and we go out to perform to celebrate Nelson Mandela, being released from prison. And I was telling the team here all week, I said, I always wanted to meet Arsenio Hall. I was like, I did his show, but I was there because of KRS-One.
Right.
You invited him to come to the couch and everything afterwards. The rest of the crew had to stay back, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But the power of manifestation, Arsenio, and the power of dreaming, it took 36 years later.
Yeah.
Get that
You're
around
here.
I want y'all hug. Y'all
Shut up, Sway.
Go ahead.
But you're here at a show. Like, I was on your show, and now 36 years later, you're here
on your show.
And
that's
it's
crazy.
with Sway in the morning. Like,
it's your show.
The power of dreaming. Like, I never stopped dreaming, and I knew the day would happen. I just didn't know how. And I always say, God is your how. Like, God is your how. I think we worry so much about how things happen. Sometimes we miss it.
Yeah.
But we do the work and we allow God to be the how. So thank you.
Well, and the great thing about this era that we're living in, I didn't get to hear this from you until today, but my favorite thing in the world, well, my second favorite thing, I like weed. That's my favorite thing.
Wait a minute.
But YouTube is my second favorite thing in the world. And I know exactly who you are. And, when I walked in.
You said hi, Heather.
Yeah, because I know who you are, and it brings us so close together. I love the internet for that reason.
Yeah.
Because before you came to the West Coast, I felt like I was in touch with you constantly.
Yes.
Then I see you in the airport, and I tell you that.
Remember that? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, man.
But I
you hug. Now you hug.
I hugged him already. I damn near cried on his shoulder. He pushed me off.
We hugged. but it's so, and there were so many young people in the mix that maybe I didn't meet. Like, by the way, I go to Paramount one day and I say, I saw this little boy do an Elvis impression. He's incredible. We got to bring him on. And they're like, look, he's not famous. We can't get tune-in numbers, putting an unfamous name in the TV guide. Just, can you book Whitney again? And wow. I always wanted to bring in new people, but that kid was Bruno Mars.
Oh, what?
And I got to put him on, and he got to perform, and he was amazing. He was like this big. He was like an embryo. He was a tiny man, and he was 5 years old, and he turned it out. But I would fight them for stuff like that. I'm like, I know they don't know who he is, and I know I won't get tune-in numbers. People will probably turn to Johnny Carson, but we got to put this kid on. And I always did. They would. One time they said, you should have somebody sit in with your band sometimes, because David Sanborn sits in with Letterman, and so I had Busta Rhymes sit in all night. And they said, that's not what we were kind of thinking, more Kenny G.
You had Busta do it.
I had Busta sit in all night with the band.
But you got Bill Clinton nominated to become the president of the United States.
Yeah,
I give you credit for that.
And you know what? Bill Clinton said to me, and it's one of the great things that I've heard in my ear holes. He said, I wouldn't be president if it wasn't for you.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good Bill Clinton too, right?
and that's a great thing to hear, because now we run for the highest office in the land a different way. We used to go on only Sunday morning shows like Meet the Press. And now you got to do Sway, you got to do Kimmel. If you want to be president, you got to go everywhere. And that started because they were pursuing a young demo by coming to my show. And I asked, I told Jenna Bush this recently. I asked for her grandfather. I wanted both of them. Because like I said earlier, my dad was a Republican. My mom was a Democrat. I want to expose my audience to everything, because I'm not one of those guys that goes lock stock with the Democratic Party. You got to earn my love, because I know what the Democratic Party used to be. And so talk to me. I want them all to talk to me. And I wanted Bush to come on when I had Clinton come on, but we got a call from his office, and he didn't get it. He didn't understand why anyone would go on that show, but now everyone understands.
They get it. Arsenio Hall, man.
Wow, man.
My brother, man. Since
Thank
we're
you.
in LA, man, if you ever want to just come co-host the show with us,
Yeah.
run some material,
Work it
talk
out.
about whatever, you would have just hang out, man. We are here, brother.
Absolutely.
We are here.
That's crazy.
And I'm dead serious with this.
There's a part of me that's like, I love to talk.
Yeah.
But there's another part of me that I love to sleep.
Okay,
And,
you did say, man.
It's too early.
Ooh, Lord. Y'all work for real. This is serious
But
adult
that's what
work.
people don't know about. It's the hosting. To be a great host, you have to put that work in.
And you being chipper and happy this early in the morning, I would have a real grumpy morning show.
Okay.
I'd have a show where I'm in a robe mad.
Yo, you said, "Oh Lord, y'all get up early."
Early.
We'll do an afternoon broadcast for you. But man, I really want to thank you for blessing our airwaves. I apologize to the callers. I know a lot of people lined up that want to talk, but I know you. Do you have another something? You got to go somewhere. So,
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I
have to go. I wish I could stay.
You can always
I'm
come
having
back.
fun, man. I can come back, yes. I'm so glad you're on the West Coast, dog.
Man, I'm here, bro, and I ain't doing a whole lot other than working. So let me know. Let me know. We hanging.
This is a whole lot.
Well, it's like you said. It's what I love to do.
Yeah.
And I'm happy doing it. And so it may seem like a whole lot, but
Find something that you would do free and pursue it.
Because
I still to this day, when you rolled up on me at the Comedy Store or at the Improv, I go out 4 nights a week, try material, watch the news, and then go do material. Because I love doing stand-up. I love seeing people laugh, hearing people laugh. In the book, Heather will tell you there's a thing where my dad was officiating a wedding. And the couple, he says, "You will now kiss the bride," and they kiss a long time. And I scream out, "Kiss her, don't kill her, man." And I get a big laugh, and I get my ass whipped when I get home. But because I wasn't supposed to say shit. My dad took me with him because my mother couldn't keep me that day. And things like that, I look back and I say, I've always been addicted to laughter. I've been chasing laughter since that day when it's like, there's something magical about it. It's like, I like that.
Yeah.
I still go out right now and do it because I love it.
That's what makes you happy. My man, Arsenio Hall, man. Get this man a big
the
round
book.
of applause. Get the book, Arsenio.
Yeah,
it's a
please get the
bestseller.
book. Please.
It's on the best-selling list.
I'm on the New York Times bestseller list.
Man, brother, I hope you enjoyed your stay here as much as we've enjoyed it.
This
And
is
We've
fun,
been
man.
waiting. We've been
waiting on
really
this one,
excited,
man.
for real.
Let's continue to build, Arsenio.
If the way I feel up here this morning could be a lifestyle, I'd be a happy man. This is a good feeling to get the love.
It can be. You just said it, man. This is it. We living in real time, man.
Yes, sir.
Arsenio Hall, thank you to your son for coming. I know
Yes.
when you read the book, Arsenio will tell you that he don't bring nobody when he got to do when
Anything.
he got Jesse Collins had you do come out
Okay, at the Emmys.
Yeah,
at the
the
Emmys,
Emmys.
and you
750.
didn't take nobody with you, right?
Yeah, when I'm working, when I'm focused, that's what I'm doing. And I'm no fun to be around when I'm in work mode.
Yeah.
But my son gets me
Uh-huh.
because he's like me.
Okay.
Oh,
And he
okay.
looks like you too, man.
That's my guy.
I don't know what his hoop game is like, but he looks like you,
Yeah,
man.
he got a jumper. Kobe gave him shoes once when he was little.
Oh my God.
And he hit 3 threes in the shoes Kobe gave him.
Did you?
Yes.
Wow.
And where are those shoes? I can't believe. Oh, you okay?
Real quick, man, when you talk to Eddie next, tell him we
Yes.
love him too, man.
Get him up here.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
I would love to have Eddie up here, man. I love the work y'all done together.
Absolutely.
I love the brotherhood that y'all share. That's been very inspiring. I love the way you refer to him. He thought you looked. Your mother
Yeah.
thought y'all looked alike, or his mother
His
thought
mother thought we
y'all
looked
looked alike when you first
Yeah.
met. Keenan Ivory Wayans
Introduced us.
Yes.
And me and
Wow.
Keenan were waiting for Eddie to arrive at the Comedy Store. We waited out for the Improv.
The
No,
Improv.
where I met
The
you
same
the other
place?
night.
That was
yes,
where it happened?
right out there, that parking meter. And Eddie walked up, and the first thing he said to me is, "Nigga, you don't look like me." First thing he
Wow.
ever said to me.
Yeah.
I said, "Why you say that?" And people had said we looked alike.
In the Coming to America pitch, all of this stuff is in this book, man.
bro.
And you guys going and writing and improvising together, and you sharing how talented Eddie Murphy is, was then and is now.
And he let me be a part of something great, dog, because He didn't have to let me do characters.
Yeah.
They wanted Eddie to do characters because we loved Eddie on SNL and we hadn't seen him do characters, and they wanted characters in Coming to America. But it's Eddie that said, Arsenio can do some characters. And I was like, yes, I can. And we made up some barbers. And he said, I heard you talking about preachers in Chicago. You got to come up with a preacher. And so he let me be a part of this experience that has become a part of history and our culture. I mean, I know a family that said, you know how some families watch Wizard of Oz once a year? The whole family watches. I know black families that watch Coming to America, show it to their kids.
Absolutely.
It's true.
And so that movie, to be a part of that iconic piece of art is incredible that my friend let me hang.
2 times y'all did it. Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights.
Harlem
Man.
Nights.
That's my shit.
That's legendary.
Man,
I love Harlem
Nights.
That's legendary.
Yeah. When
Richard Pryor, Red Fox,
Della Reese, and that baby toe.
Oh my God.
That pinky toe.
Who was your inspiration for your character? Because
You know what? Eddie said to me, it's Crying Man. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but it's a brother who just can never get control of his emotions. Everything makes him cry. And he just explained the character to me, and I took the script, and it was so much fun to do. And still to this day, when you go into the culture, when you go into the neighborhood, people say, Harlem Nights, nigga.
Yeah. Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights.
You killed my brother.
Yo, that shootout scene.
Show that little shit.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That's the funniest scene
Yeah,
ever,
hit
brother.
that motherfucker with my hat.
Yo, man. Harlem Nights, man. Congratulations on the
Arsenio.
life, man, and continued success, man.
Thank y'all.
You got the book now. What else is coming up? We want to be there.
Wow. I don't know, man. I wanted to get all this out of my system. I wanted to publish that letter. I wanted to tell the Farrakhan story myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted people to know that. By the way, the whole story is kind of cool. I read it back and starting to remember that I was with Tyra and Kenya that night. And do you remember that restaurant, George's?
Yes. Yeah, Georgia.
Yes.
That was the spot. That's where I met Minister Farrakhan. Mustafa came over to me and said, my dad would like to meet you.
Yes.
I turned around and I knew him, because, he's about my age. And I told the minister that night, I said, look, I'm going to talk it over with my partner, and I'm thinking about leaving the show. So if we're going to do it, now is the time to do it.
And what the minister say?
The minister said, you call me, brother, and let me know. And I worked it out. My thing was, why can't I talk to him?
Why not?
Phil Donahue talked to him.
That's right.
Phil
Donahue had him on.
Yeah, I mean, everybody talked to him except the black talking heads. When you think about it, Mike Wallace and Barbara Walters, they all talked to him. The only people that weren't allowed to talk to him was me and Oprah. And so for me, as a stubborn young man, I know, I probably should have done Steve and Edie that night. But the bottom line is, it bugged me that we were all afraid to talk to the minister. I wish the podcast world existed then, because trying to talk to the minister in a 10-minute segment or something like that, late night, it was hard. But I knew people, if you kind of dug what he was saying, then you go deeper on your own and study. But we were about to have a 1 million man march. I thought it was really important.
It was.
To talk to this guy.
Yeah.
And I talked to everybody else. So obviously part of the book was to tell that story. And I guess I exonerate Paramount because they greenlit that book.
They let it. Yeah.
They knew we were having. It wasn't like I snuck in there with Farrakhan and locked the door.
He knew he was coming, right?
Yeah,
right?
He was cleared at the gate.
Yeah, and it was an amazing interaction.
Yeah.
And it was a very inspiring conversation.
Monumental.
I wanted to ask him, the community, the question to ask him, we were whispering about who killed Malcolm.
That's right.
Did the minister have anything to do with that? I know y'all don't want me to talk to the minister, but we got questions, and sometimes you just have to let black folks do what they do.
Let black folks be black folks. I got a chance to ask him that question.
Really?
I got a chance to sit down and talk to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he went in detail. He didn't run from the question, and volunteered a lot of information. And his son, I tell you, in that experience I had with them, I never felt a safer environment.
Right. I talk about that in the book too.
Right.
When I arrived at Paramount
Yeah.
and I saw all the NOI brothers.
Yeah.
And there was one up on the roof.
Yeah.
And, you never feel the night I met him at George's.
Yeah.
I've never felt safer.
Than you did there. And Mustafa is the nicest, kindest. He was so kind to me. And I was like, wow, man. And, yeah, so it was a.
And this is the minister's son. Now, forget you don't like the minister. Remember, Mustafa all his life has heard Arsenio Hall show was canceled because your dad. Yeah. Your dad went on there and they had to take it. And,
right.
That's a son.
Yeah.
That's a dad. And that's not true. So truth is important.
Truth is important, and you can find the truth in this book. It's called Arsenio, man. Arsenio Hall, the memoir. Man, my brother, thank you again, man. We'll keep going. I know we got another show running right now. But
I'm trying not to leave.
Okay, all right. Look, the rep is mad at us. Don't be mad at us.
I'm sorry.
All right, okay.
My bad.
All right, cool, man. Thank you, citizens, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. We got the one and only Beat Junkies. Who coming up tomorrow, Horace? Is Horace over there?
We got DJ J Raw coming up tomorrow.
With Bishop Lamont, right?
Yeah, Bishop Lamont will be up here. He's going to be freestyling Arsenio if y'all want to come back.
I might have to.
Let me know around the same time, okay? Just got to get up.
I get up. I stay up.
Okay?
Yeah.
Smoke a little weed, he good.
Yeah,
okay, cool. We'll have a pack for you.
Adderall.
Stop doing that. It's time to stop. All right? Okay, y'all have a great day. Stay on the right side of positivity, and we have nothing left to say.